So, hello, Lucy. Hi, everyone. My name is Carmen Beaumont, and I'm the Director of Video Psychology. I invited today Lucy, who is a yoga instructor. So I will let you, Lucy, introduce yourself in a minute. Because here at Vida, we focus on a holistic approach, and we know that yoga is important in our general well-being. But I think more than ever now, we are seeing a lot of our clients presenting with anxiety and stress, even if that wasn't a previous experience that they were having. So we're trying to link them to other services in their community that they can access to help consolidate and also work in conjunction with the work that we do with them. So I'll let you, Lucy, introduce yourself and what you do and where people can find you.
Great. Well, thank you for inviting me to chat about this, and it's so important at the moment to look out for one another in community, I think. So
Yeah.
My name is Lucy, and I am the founder and director of Estuary Yoga Space, which we're based on Queensbury Street in North Melbourne. Currently we are based online, as with many services.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's a beautiful community to be part of, and what I do is teach yoga classes, which I hope is not about myself or in fact any of our 8 or so teachers telling anyone in the class what to do, but rather to hold a space to facilitate that space for people to have their own journey and experience. And what we happen to be doing are what's called yoga postures or asana, often meditation, breathwork, pranayama, or a combination of all of these. And as you said, it's a very holistic practice, and the intention of Estuary Yoga is to help cultivate a deeper awareness of self, so that it's not just in the 4 corners of your mat, but in daily life, you're a lot more in tune, I guess, with what's going on internally. And so you can be more aware of what's going on externally as well.
Yeah, which is great. And as a psychologist, we know the importance of yoga. So some of the issues that we help people with are things such as chronic pain. So we know the role that yoga has in reduction of pain, as well as depression, anxiety, and once again, stress. We also know how helpful and pivotal yoga can be in a reduction of stress and anxiety, and also the link that there is between a reduction in anxiety and your general well-being, especially boosting your immune system. And I think with COVID-19, we know how important it is for us to maintain a general well-being and our physical health. So I think that if we can find ways of improving our immune system by reducing levels of stress, then that's amazing. And this is where I thought, okay, Lucy would be fantastic to come and talk to our community about different ways that people could do that.
And especially during this time, as you mentioned, there is such a prevalence of heightened stress or anxiety because we're literally standing on water, not sure what's going to happen next, not sure what is happening now. And with everything in flux, it's hard to feel stable or grounded or just calm, I guess, in essence. And what I love about the yoga tradition is it kind of turns our modern perception of stress in a different direction. So from a yogic, more philosophical standpoint, our natural state is not to be stressed at all. In fact, our natural state is what's known as ananda or bliss. And that seems like a big word. People are like, oh, bliss. It's like so far away when there's life and all the things that go on. But what it teaches us through traditional yoga is that all the stuff we layer on day to day, all the little stresses, all the petty thoughts, they seem important at the time. But when you cut down to the essence of things, they're all just like fingerprints dirtying the mirror of our true self.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you put a capital S on that self instead of the other self, which worries about, you know, what to have for dinner and what's happened with that conversation. And so what yoga practice is not about the poses. It's about using that as a bridge, using the breath as a bridge to lean back into that natural capital S bliss self.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds very simple, and it's not always easy, but when you can touch upon that kind of state of stability or calm or ease, it's like when you go into an airplane, you lift above the clouds and you notice that even if it's pouring down underneath the clouds, it's always the same above it.
Nice, yeah, and that's one of the things that we tell people, that learning to relax, and as you said, you know, it's bliss is a natural state. However, because of the society that we live in, we that's something that we lose connection with and touch with, and it's something that we need to be reminded on how to do.
So much.
And a lot of us have forgotten how to do it. And once again, I think this is where yoga, meditation is important, to take us back to those roots of bliss, as you said. I love that word. One of the things that we say to our clients is that they need to keep on practicing and not to give themselves a hard time, because one of the things that we often find with our clients is that they get very frustrated with themselves, that they're not relaxed when they're trying to relax. So as you said, you know, it's more about noting and being mindful of that without necessarily judging where they are, and making that connection and reconnecting with that. And that just, you know, that takes time and practice. So having someone to guide them through that process, I think, is important.
Yeah, definitely. It is a practice for sure. And I think a lot of the practice is being able to let the practice be the way it is on that day. You know, one day your balance might be on fire, so good, and then the next day you're just wobbling all over the place in something that's seemingly so simple. And it's to do with everything, as you say, it's holistic. So maybe you had a crappy night's sleep, or maybe you ate something that has imbalanced your digestive system, maybe your mind is really heavy with something else. And these are all things that we come to notice through the practice. And it's the noticing part that is really the most important, because if you know, let's say you came to a yoga class in the morning and you notice, oh, I'm actually really anxious today, then the rest of that day, when that comes up, you can recognize, okay, well, this is the weather for today, so maybe I'll be a little more tender with myself. Maybe I'll push a little less hard on these things. And that is what creates that harmony, or that at least leaning towards that balance. And on what you said as well, I think so many people that I've seen have had this little revelation that bliss or peace or contentment, whatever you want to call it, is not necessarily something that you go and pick up off the shelf and it's outside, because it's already inside. It's a revealing of that rather than needing to add on. So I personally find it very encouraging that it's something you already have, and you just have to clean away the other stuff, rather than you're incomplete and you have to go find that thing, work really hard and judge yourself for, you know, not getting it all the time.
And when that reconnection happens, is lovely. As you said, you know, we get clients saying, oh, that's having that space and that time to reconnect with that, it's amazing. So yeah, that's great.
Awesome.
One of the things that you and I talked about before we finished, Lucy, was to teach us, as silly as it may sound, how to breathe. So a brief breathing technique that we can all try at home.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, before going into that, there's a lot of talk and everyone knows now intellectually how breathing is so important. And it seems, as you mentioned, silly that we need to now learn how to breathe, which is such a natural thing we do. But the part in the yoga practice which focuses on breath emphasizes not just breathing, because anyone can do that. And if you're not breathing, well, you're not going to be here for much longer, but to consciously breathe. And because we can't affect things like our immune system directly, that we can't just say, right, turn up the immune system right now, or we can't say, right, heart beat faster right now without moving our bodies. But the breath can be one bridge towards our nervous system, because the way we breathe affects the way that our body responds, and that in fact affects the immune system, and affects our general sense of wellness, the balance between that parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, rest and digest, and so on. So breathing is really a language we can speak to our bodies directly.
Yes.
If we can breathe in a calm and ungreedy kind of way, then slowly we can edge our mind towards that same state.
Fantastic.
So, and I might take just a minute or two to just guide you through this brief practice. And there's a lot online, and we have some meditations on our online classrooms, I guess, or library, if you like. But this is a super simple technique from Thich Nhat Hanh, who's a Buddhist teacher, and it's simply to draw attention to the breath. So if you'd like, I'll guide you through, Carmen, and if you're watching, you can join in as well. So if you want to see it, or wherever you are, just get comfortable for the next couple of minutes. You can close down the eyes if you like, or shrug the shoulders. Notice where your spine is in relation to your pelvis and to the top of your head. And you might take a deep breath in and fill up through the abdomen, the ribs, the back. And maybe you sigh that out through the mouth. Let's take another couple of breaths. It could be really deep. It could be soft and spacious. Just sense into the breath as if you're watching a wave in the ocean. And allow any sense of your thoughts to be present. But just keep gently directing your mind or your awareness back towards the movement of your breath, in to fill and out to release. And let's just watch another couple of breaths like this. And you might even notice sounds, thoughts, sensations within and around your body. Just know there's nothing to change or fix or improve. Simply watching the breath. And you seem to, or sense your breath start to settle, create its own rhythm. And I begin to become more conscious of the inhale and exhale becoming more even. And as you inhale, you might just think or say quietly in your head, breathing in, I am breathing in. And as you exhale, breathing out, I am breathing out. Let's continue like this, breathing in, I am breathing in. Your own pace, breathing out, I am breathing out. Though it may seem a little unnatural at first to be guiding your own breath, such an obvious movement. So notice how much attention you can pay to even the nuances of the breath. Maybe notice a little pause between the top of the inhale and the exhale beginning. Maybe what it feels like to be empty of breath at the bottom. You might take another 1 or 2 rounds like this. Breathing in. I am breathing in. Breathing out. I am breathing out. Now, this could continue for as long as you need. If you like, you can start to let go of that mantra or mind vehicle for your attention. And just observe for a moment the texture and the sensation of the mind, as well as the breath here. When you're ready to come back, so offer a moment of gratitude for this free-flowing breath. And you can blink open the eyes. Maybe shrug the shoulders a few times, deep breath, and hold breath out. Welcome yourself back.
Nice. Nice, Lucy.
Hopefully, that was a very short taste of focusing on the breath, but you can imagine, hopefully you felt a little bit less towards an anxious state and a little more towards an easeful state. And if you did that for 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, anytime during the day, it could just offer that little shift in trajectory.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Lucy. I really love that. Thank you.
Very
Feel much
much
more relaxed. So it would be good to also let people in a community know how to find you. So you're locally here in North Melbourne,
Yes.
not too far from where we used to be on Queensberry Street.
Yeah, it's a good place to be. So physically, we are sandwiched dangerously in a way, but beautifully between Beatrix, the cake shop, and Bread Club, the bakery. So it's kind of right in the middle of those two on Queensberry Street. But at the moment, we are based online. So it's simply s3yoga.com.au. And you can just find, we've changed the website, so it's just one link to the practice online page there. And all of our offerings at the moment are on a contribution as you can basis. So essentially the classes are free and you are invited to donate if you'd like to, just to support what we're doing. But we thought it's just more important to make this as accessible as possible. So you'll find asana or flow classes. So these are the more dynamic classes. You'll find yin classes, which really drops you into that more parasympathetic state. It's a very slow, grounded, effortless practice. So that's accessible for everyone, including people that are completely new to yoga. There's breath practices on there. There's meditations, audio and video, and a couple of tutorials out there as well.
Great, thank you. I would love you to put together a list for me. I know it sounds silly, so that I can also let our community know with links on, and I'll post it on our website as well, so that people can access that. So thank you so much for that, Lucy. Really, really loved it. Thank you.
Right. So nice chatting to you, Carmen. Thank you for what you do as well. It's very needed at this time,
Thank you.
and all times really, but especially
Yep.
this time.
Thank you. Bye, Lucy.
Take care.